Hello, I'm Amy Zaley with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for January 23. Let's be aware of our upcoming U.S. Congress. We here in the United States swore in new members of Congress, and we should be a bit fearful, or at least on alert, in this January of 2018. For example, Minnesota touts the election of the first black female Muslim, which, if you're keeping a checklist of identity elements to check off on a list, she gets them all. The problem is that she brings to the floor an unprecedented level of anti-Semitism and, I would say, arrogance as well. Unabashedly anti-Israel and openly espousing the so-called evils of what Israel is in her social media, I suppose her constituents either didn't know this or worse, didn't care. Perhaps they even agree with her. But this freshman, or might I say entry-level politician to be politically correct, and not gender bias, this incoming congressperson is not only attempting to veil her anti-Semitism with some sort of excusable anti-Israel notion, she thinks she deserves to be on the Foreign Relations Committee, and Nancy Pelosi seems to agree. Even other Democrats say her bias disqualifies her, and they fall short of noting her anti-Semitic bias, but call it an anti-Israel bias. Furthermore, she's outspokenly fighting against bipartisan anti-BDS legislation that was established last year that is up for vote now. She claims it's unconstitutional, which it's not, and even if it was, she could challenge it in court. But she knows she wouldn't win. The current legislation is about stopping discrimination against Israel and Jewish companies, and it is about fortifying the American values and actions and protecting a close ally and the only democracy in the Middle East. An anti-Semitic tweet which Omar posted in 2012 during Operation Pillar of Defense reads, quote, "Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken to the people and help them see the evil doings of Israel." If Miss Omar is open for a meeting, I'm happy to travel to her office on the Hill and provide her with copious amounts of factual information about the benevolence, philanthropy, and goodwill in both deed and kindness that the Israeli people and the Israeli government provide to its neighbors and to the world in the realm of security, technology, medical innovation, disaster relief, refugee helps for folks from Darfur to Syria, and the list goes on and on. Omar, can you spare an hour? I really can travel to your office easily and fill a whole day with content, but if you can spare an hour, I can give you the highlights, and then perhaps you can explain to me again how Israel is simply a nation of evil doings, and then we'll talk about her neighbors. Oh, and don't get me started on this dual loyalty argument that has plagued the Jewish people worldwide as a slanderous insult for decades. This argument is one that if somebody is Jewish, they are by definition biased and ill-equipped or unequipped to work in good faith on any endeavor such as a college student body organization, a research group, a governmental agency, or any agency requiring some sense of academic integrity and honesty. While this insulting accusation called dual loyalty has been hoisted on many a Jew, may I say that we are seeing the true fruition of it by the Muslim elected officials in Congress, or at least indications of it. For example, being sworn in on the Quran. Keep in mind that both the New and Old Testaments of the Bible have no content that makes swearing an allegiance to America and its Constitution that are diametrically opposed to each other. There is nothing in the holy instruction or tenets of the Bible, both New and Old Testament, that contradicts an allegiance to America or patriotism to its values, its Constitution, or its laws. The same cannot be said of the Quran. Moreover, the morals, ethics, and cultural mores and morals and norms that have been produced over the centuries from the Bible in the Judeo-Christian tradition have no diametrically opposed dilemmas for one who claims to be a practicing Christian or Jew and a servant of the United States government, a patriot, and a defender of the Constitution. Of course, we may disagree on particular laws, such as access to abortion and who funds it, but the vast majority of laws, and especially the Constitution, and things about treason and sympathizing with known enemies, all remain consistent. According to an article by Tim Brown from the Freedom Outpost, I will quote, Many of you are familiar with a couple of congressional seats that were picked up by Muslim women and the first Muslim state attorney general to be put in office in Minnesota. What you may not realize is how many of these political offices were filled by electing Muslims in late 2018. Even more concerning is the high percentage of Muslims voting for and their openness to promote the fact that they want to change our culture and society. Unquote. Of the elections at both the state, local, and federal levels, all the newly elected positions that had political party affiliations were actually Democrats, with the exception of the Florida State Attorney Amira Dejanji Fox and Abdul Khan, a state legislator in New Hampshire. The rest were either Democrats or had a position where no party affiliation was noted. Between the federal, state, local, and judicial levels, 40 Muslims came into office. And the concerning part is also with the judiciary, because there may be some unabashed applications of non-constitutional rulings of law, but allegiances to foreign texts, including Sharia, Quranic, and other practices and norms from other cultures. Regarding grassroots organizations that seek to help Muslim candidates, let's beware of the following. JETPAC, Justice, Education, Technology, Political Advocacy Center. This organization, quote, seeks to build a strong American Muslim political infrastructure and increase our community's influence and engagement. We will take our place at the table across all levels of government. It continues, our philosophy is of change and is rooted in community-based approach, grassroots mobilization, civics training, and technology applications. We have developed our own training curriculum as well as proprietary social media technology and automation tools to give our fellows the skills and resources they need to win elections. So please, everyone, we have to keep a watchful eye out for anti-Semitism and not allow it to be voted in right under our noses. We cannot change the demographics of a voting zone per se, but we can educate the Democratic Party on what they need to be mindful of regarding the individuals they support for positions and elections, as well as the organizations that support those individuals. This is where the watchful eye must be kept open. Shavua Tov, and have a great week.